Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, your source for exceptional video analysis of stocks, ETFs, and indices so you can become a better trader. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday, August 19th. We're going to take a look at the market action of the last couple of days. And then we're going to take a look at, like we usually do, we're going to look at Germany and then China. Actually, that's just Germany and China tonight. I'm going to look at the Shanghai Composite and Hong Kong Hang Seng Index. Indicators, some of our key ETFs along with the dollar, oil, gold. And then 5 stocks tonight, Canadian Solar, Silica, SLCA, and I can never remember Silica something, United States Steel, GoPro, and Sandisk. All right, so let's start off here with the Dow Industrials. The Dow is down 162 points today. Now, the interesting thing, that's what you just, if you weren't paying really close attention to during the day-to-day, and, a lot of you may not be, it was down over 220 points at one point, and then at 1 o'clock when the Fed released their minutes from the FOMC meeting, the market then rallied all the way back up here to unchanged and got slightly up for a couple of points, and then proceeded in the next half hour to 45 minutes to sell back off again and close down 162 points. So big swing days, and then it just ended down 162 points. And to me, breaking this 3-day, 4-day lows in here is not very positive price action. Let's put it this way. You wouldn't want to be bullish, being long and seeing this kind of action. This is just reinforcing the trend to the downside, and especially this close here. So this is the lowest close. This closes below the closes of all of the last trading the last 2 weeks. And again, so now where are we closed? 17,348, lowest close since back here. I don't know, back into January again. So let's take a look at the S&P 500. Similar type action, but again, the Dow is in a lot worse condition than the S&P 500 right now. This hasn't broken down yet. We'll see whether this is, it's just hanging out here. And people have talked about, I retweeted on StockTwits what Mr. Topstep had posted about how compressed the trading range has been in the S&P 500. And there's been some other people have posted different things too in terms of the trading range and the percentage trading range, how tight this has all been. And we're in some record territory in terms of how long it's been staying like this. So that's the other thing is, the market's been overall pretty tight in terms of the trading range. NASDAQ down 40 points today. It opened down, did the same thing, kind of seesawing, and then it kind of closed not near the lows, but a little more in the middle. Let's take a look in here. See if I can see anything else. Same type of thing in terms of breaking the lows the last 4 days, closing down below the lows of the last few weeks. And again, this is the lowest close on the NASDAQ since July 10th. So not nearly the degree that, let me look back in the S&P 500. That's not nearly the case. So again, all the damage on the Dow. Let's take a look at the German DAX, see what's going on with Europe. So Germany has been selling off. So we had this breakout here. We thought maybe we were breaking out of this downward channel thinking that something else was going on, and it was a kind of a fake out breakout. And, we dipped that down, rally. We got this trend line in here, kind of like what we're seeing on China, and we'll get to that in a minute. And notice how we broke, and then we continued to break. And now the close here has gone below the low, I believe. 682. Let me get my crosshairs back. I know they get a little annoying sometimes. It hasn't closed below there, and actually it hasn't taken out that low yet. And it's right at the 233-day moving average. So we're right in here. This is potential support in here. So it breaks down below 10,600, and we could see a move down into here for sure. So it is rolling over. Shanghai Composite. So here's this formation I'm talking about that seems to be similar to the DAX. in here, this move right here. And I look at these and I think of I think of this as a swing move to me. Let me see if I can pull something up. Okay. All right. So when I see this kind of action, and I draw the trend line in here, I think of this as a swing move down, and I think it's going to swing about this kind of height, and that's why I think that it's got this kind of move down. That's what I'm watching for. That's what's in the back of my mind as I see this. Now, it's interesting, this low here from the close on the 17th, which was Monday, the intraday low yesterday on the Shanghai Composite, that was a 10%, over a 10% drop in less than 2 days. Well, 2 days worth of trading. It actually went from close to low 10%. Can you imagine us doing that with the Dow Industrials? You're talking about 1,700 point swing on the Dow Industrials. We did the same thing that the Shanghai Composite just did. And then it comes back up and reverses. So a lot of people are saying, I saw an article on Bloomberg where they were talking about buying, and they think government stimulation is coming in as it nears the 3,500 level. Well, it's closer to 3,550, and it's done it 3 times is what they're saying. So everybody's kind of watching this level. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if that holds or not. I think this support down here came in as we reached the highs over here. And you can draw this, you can see how we got the trend line across here. So it's going to be real interesting to see, does this hold or not? But you go to Hong Kong and you look at the Hang Seng index, and this is a lot more negative. Okay. And so I drawn the same kind of trend line here. Now we didn't get as much of the rally off of it, and it was a little steeper trend line, but look how this is much more negative in terms of what's going on with Hong Kong. And the close here is the lowest close since back in mid-December. So we're talking 9 months. And you go back to Hang Seng, or the Shanghai. I mean, if you had to go back to mid-December, and here you'd be right down in here, closer to 3,000 is the equivalent to the damage that's been done on the Hang Seng. So, a lot of negative situation here with the Chinese market, and we'll have to, keep watching it. Everybody's, as everybody knows, I mean, this is the number 2 largest economy in the world right now. So it does have an impact. All right, the short-term trading index is right in the middle. So no change. The VIX, this was interesting on the VIX. Okay, so yesterday the VIX opened up again, but then it finally closed above its low for the first time in 5 days. Okay, so the previous 4 days it didn't do that, and it finally did it yesterday, and then today gapped up big on the opening, and then it swung way down as the market rallied back to zero, and then it sold off again in the last hour and a half, and VIX closed above its open here. Okay, and it got this high. I really thought it was going to break these 2 points here. So this is what I'm watching here, because I think if it takes out this 1628, this was 16.27, and the high, and this is 16.28. So basically the same. It takes out this level. I think we've got a shot of really going and spiking. So we'll see what happens here. The market, I think, is really, really vulnerable. Let's take a look at the high yield bond fund. Not a whole lot going on here. I mean, it's down, so it's kind of reinforcing what's going on with the market. A little bit of a doji bar, and it barely broke the low of the 12th, which was last Wednesday. So we'll see whether that's trying to just, it could be just consolidating a little bit. TLT, Treasury bonds. So, the FOMC comes out with their statement, and supposedly, we're talking about raising interest rates in September. Well, there must have been something in there that made everybody think, well, maybe they're not, or maybe they just don't believe them, because the long-term interest rates basically went down. Of course, they're talking about short-term interest rates. But the long-term interest rates went down because the bonds went up. Okay, it's an inverse relationship. So the bonds are saying now, I still am waiting for this to take out this high because I'm not convinced. This wave count, I'm looking for a fifth wave down. I'm thinking this is a fourth wave. This is still a valid fourth wave pullback as long as this doesn't go above this low point here, wave 1. And that's right at this level. So that's why I'm watching to see if this high on this bar or candle holds or not. So that's what I'm watching on the TLT. And then the next one is the dollar. So the dollar index went down today. And so the dollar went down. You know, you'd think, well, if they're raising interest rates, the dollar would go up. Well, the dollar went down. So the dollar's still kind of stalling out here. And, you know, sideways move that's been going on basically since this little peak here in mid-May, late May, actually, May 27th. So, and then oil. Boy, oil just keeps punching right down through the floor. United States oil. Okay, so pretty negative picture. Just keeps reinforcing. Actually, the futures contract closed at $40.80 on West Texas Intermediate. And we're about to get into the 30s. 30 handle on oil, on futures. And again, the U.S. oil is well below, you know, well below where it was back here. But the futures contract, I don't think, has taken that out yet. I think we keep making new 6-year lows, but I don't think it's gone to a lower low in terms of the actual futures contracts. Okay, and then the last one we'll look at is gold. Look at GLD. And this bounced today. Gold was actually up $11 an ounce, closed $1127.90 on the futures. And so we got this gap up here on GLD, and you know, it shot up. It closed this gap that I've been talking about. I kept talking about this gap. Low 108.40, and we got a high of 108.67, closed 108.55. So now, close that big gap. Where do we go? You know, is this going anywhere or not? Short term, it's just swinging up. We'll see. We still got this declining 55-day moving average. All right, that's it on the indicators. Let's take a look at 5 big movers today. Canadian, so they're all losers. Canadian Solar, wow. You know, I posted the chart before the market opened today. I think it said, you know, this has got a shot at, you know, pre-market this was down. And so it was selling off pre-market. It was 22 something, I think. I said, well, it's got a shot at closing this gap. Well, it just opened down below the gap. So, I mean, literally created another gap on top of the gap over here. So, I mean, we've got a huge, I wouldn't call this an island top because it's not really, that's not the way an island looks to me anyway. But we got, you know, a gap on top of gap. So there is nobody traded in here, and this is breaking down below. So the key thing here on Canadian Solar, if we take out this low here at 1868, then this bullish scenario that I started to go with is out the window because this cannot, I thought this might be a wave 1. We're starting a new upswing. Wave 2 cannot go below the beginning of wave 1, so that whole scenario is out of the window. And the trend is, you know, the trend's been pretty strong down. I mean, there's been you know, look at this trend line in here across the highs and the moving averages, everything. That, you know, the trend's hard down right now on Canadian Solar. You got to let price tell you that it wants to turn. And the next one is U.S. Silica Holdings. That's what I was trying to remember. I knew it was Silica something. So it did a big move down today too. Now we've gotten this little moving average cross. Sometimes those hold and sometimes they don't. And so right now, pretty big move to the downside and breaking this short-term little trend line. And this has broken down pretty strongly from, you know, the back here where I've got this trend line drawn from mid-2012. So 3-year trend line actually was less than, it was a 2-year trend line that broke back in, you know, December. Late November, early December, broke hard down through this. And this has been stair-stepping down. So right now it just looks like it's continuing to be negative to the downside in here. Not really sure what else to say about this picture except, you know, I thought it might be trying to turn, But you know, with this big reversal engulfing bar, and by and large, it's still within that bar. But this price action today looks pretty negative. All right, the next one is U.S. Steel, and U.S. Steel really, of course, you know, it's you know, when oil seems to be going down, U.S. Steel goes down. And this one actually, you know, looks like you can see waves a little more clearly in terms of 1, 2, a strong 3, choppy sideways, a triangular 4, and then this 5th wave coming down here. So the real question is this it? Right down here at this low? Is that low going to hold at 1568? Or is this making another move down to a lower low? I mean, look, it turned down pretty quick, and you know, this is not 5 waves up. I mean, that's 3 waves that I'm seeing right now, which is usually counter trendish corrective mode. So let's see if we're looking at what's the rest of this. Okay, so it got down near that low, actually went to a little bit lower low. And how does that compare to, if you look to 2009 finding, we're down here in the same depths of the 2009, 2008 financial crisis and the economy collapsing, et cetera, and this isn't showing any signs of a turnaround yet. All right, GoPro. GoPro's another one, and in terms of trade ideas, this is one of my trade ideas that we are in. And actually, let me look. Got out of 1/3 of the position today. The first target was hit down here. This flipped around. We, about a week or so ago, thought this was going to continue moving. Thought the momentum was to the high side, looked like, and then all of a sudden reversed down. And then I flipped back into puts here. And so now the first target to the downside has been hit. This close below this trend line, looks negative to me. Just so we'll see if we get some continuation. I've got another, target number 2 that I'm looking for it to hit, and then we'll let the third position ride. So GoPro is looking like it's breaking down at the moment. And the last one we'll take a look at tonight is Sandisk, and Sandisk is even more negative. Than these. And so this is the kind of situation, I mean, when you look at Sandisk's action, gapping down, rallying back, gapping down, rallying sideways. Didn't have big gap, little gap here, and then, thought it was going here, and then it's just rolled over, and 2 of the targets were hit on this in terms of the put positions. Exited the first third and the second third, and now I've got the third part of the position we're just going to let ride. We'll see what the stock wants to give it to you. And so, I mean, the thing you never know. I mean, when you look at this, how it collapses, you just don't know if that's what's going to happen here or not. And so I'm just going to wait and see what the market tells us. I mean, when you look at the low here, this is right just above 113. Or 113, 53.18, just above 53. Okay, and so where is this trading? So we're back into this price action here. It's kind of hard to haven't really looked for specific levels of support right now. We're just going to see if this continues to break down or not. And what I'm watching for trading that gets outside the Keltner channel. If I get several days outside my Keltner channel, if you look at this stock has a tendency to do that. When it dives down, it gets outside the Keltner channel, and then it'll break that pattern and then move sideways. Gets outside the Keltner channels, breaks the highs in here, and then pulls back and moves sideways. Same thing here, outside the Keltner channels. So I'm looking to see if we get a repeat of that. If we get some trading outside the Keltner channels, I'll be watching that and then setting in a stop on the put position. So again, the details are on the Trade Ideas webpage. If you're not a subscriber, it's easy to do. First name and email, and you're good to go, and you get access to the details on that. So, all right, that's it for tonight. A little longer than I intended to go, but I hope you found that helpful. And I will put out a timeline so you guys can see where things are at in the video. So it's been Joe for Beyond the Chart. Thanks for stopping by. We will see you again on Saturday with the weekend update.